So in this second installment, I'm going to talk about how do we find stocks. So if you are a stock investor or want to become a stock investor, you need some form of scanning or screening mechanism to search out for those stocks that meet your particular criteria, things that you are interested in. Now, for several of you, this section may not be of any interest and you can just skip over it and wait for the next installment. But in any event, even if you are an index investor, so you're only investing in either one of four or five of the major benchmark indexes, you don't need a screener, but you should build a watch list of those and embed those in your broker platform so that you're keeping an eye on the charts on a fairly regular basis. And even if you're a sector investor, you don't need scanning software for that. There are probably 40 to 70 tradable exchange traded funds that might be of interest at any one time. So it's easy enough to build a watch list of those and embed that in your broker platform, and then you can just review them. So you don't need any particular scanning. In fact, I do that. MarketSmith does not have, it's my main scanning device. And it does not carry Canadian stocks. So I have built a watch list of about 50 what I call investable Canadian stocks. And every now and then, probably every couple of weeks or so, I just review that list on my Questrade platform and see if there's any interesting patterns there. So for those of you that are just simply index investors or sector investors, you may find this some curiosity, but really this is not for you. So they're the main two. There's three that I'm aware of, and I'm sure if you Google screening software, you'll come up with a whole swack of different tools. Some free, some moderately expensive. There's lots of services out there that give you stock ideas. I prefer to generate the ideas myself, so I've been using MarketSmith now for almost a year, and I love it. I wish I'd had it a lot sooner. So that's going to be the main focus of my discussion of my process today. Let's shove that out of the way. So here's my basic MarketSmith setup. I have it set up for a weekly chart. Yeah, no other bells and whistles. So what they have now, MarketSmith has some stock screens. So for a daily review, they have what's called breaking out today. Apparently there was 5 of those today. Some that are near a pivot, and then recent breakouts. If you look, that's for market in an uptrend. If we're market in correction, they got a screen for near a pivot point, what they call a relative strength line blue dot, which basically just means a stock that has achieved a new relative strength high, and so on and so forth. So they have a lot of canned screens that are very, very useful. And then if you go to a weekly, there's their MarketSmith Growth 250. So apparently there's only 207 stocks in there now. So you can quickly scan through those. And then they have their industry groups, which you can review how the various industries are stacking up. So I haven't looked at this for a while, but I know oil and gas has been like #1 for 5 or 6 months. Now biotechs are moving into that space. Healthcare was there for a while, and so on. So very useful. I don't use them as much. I have my own favorites that I use. So I've got them listed here, and but I'm not actually going to start with one of my favorites. I'm going to start over here where I have all of my screens that I've built over the last several months. Most of these I should just scratch because I don't use. But I'm going to start with one that suits my criteria. So this is what I call a 10 is greater than 21, which is greater than 50, which is greater than 200. So the minute I click that, it does a search. It does a screen of the entire database. and I see it's come up with 66 items. So I expand this. I can, they're listed alphabetically. So there's 66 stocks that today meet the criterion. So if I open edit, I can see what my criteria is. So the MarketSmith database starts with 9,704 stocks. I have determined that I only want to see those that have a relative strength rating of 85 or higher. So that brings the list down to 1,549. They also have a composite rating. It's proprietary to Investors Business Daily. So I only want to look at ones that have a comp rating of greater than 70. So now my list comes down to 1,000. I only want to look at stocks that are in industry groups that are ranked A or B. So in other words, they're in the top 25% of all industry groups. So that brings the list down a bit more. So the answer to the question, yes, is the 10-day is the price. Is the 10-day moving average greater than the 21 and greater than the 50? If the answer is yes, that brings me down to 338. And then the longer term is the 50-day greater than the 150, which is greater than the 200. We're down to 215. Average volume is $20 million. That narrows the field quite a bit. Current price, I'm only interested in stocks that are greater than $10. So that whittles a few off. And then I want relative strength rating in the last 3 months, 85 or better. So I took 3 more off. So really, I boiled almost 10,000 stocks down to 66, which I could review in probably less than 10 minutes, 5 minutes probably. I won't go quite that quickly for you, and I won't go through all 66. So, but just to give you an indication of how I look at this, expand this. So basically, at this point, all I'm looking at is the pattern. I'm not looking at the fundamentals quite yet. I'm not looking at the earnings or sales. The relative strength rating is right in front of my face, so I do notice that. I sort of pay attention to the 200, so it's above the 200. This one, the 200 is not rising, but at this pace of acceleration, it's going to be rising soon. So I would consider this. So that's that part of it. The second thing is what they have there. You can create lists. So every week I create a list. I haven't done this for, obviously, I didn't do it last weekend. So my latest list is October the 9th watch list. And so all I do, if this stock is of interest to me, which I'll assume it, let's just say it does, I just simply click that and it adds it to that list. And then I go to the next one. All right. This one, okay, I'll add it to the list. This one, whoops, really got away from us. So I want to, yeah, I would just pass on this one. This one's already getting extended. It hasn't formed a base. I'll pass on that one. This one, it's a mineral company and oil and gas. And I just, sorry, I have an aversion to those, so I'll pass on that. So I think you get the idea. So you can set whatever criteria you want. It puts it into a list, and then you can scan that list as quickly or as slowly as you want. My own process is I scan it very quickly, dump them into a list. That list invariably ends up being about 60 to 80 names, less in these kinds of markets. And then I'll spend a bit more time really diving into those, because I want to narrow my list down to 5 to no more than 10 every weekend that I'm going to focus on for next week. So that's one example. Or let's say you are you're interested in dividends. You only want to invest in companies that are paying really good dividends. So I have one that's called high dividend yield. Well, there's 73 items in here. And I think I rank these by, I can't remember what my ranking was. It's probably by the yield. Yeah, it's ranked by yield. So the highest yield is 47%. Obviously, that's not too sustainable. So same process, I can go through these and say, any of these really interest me if I was building a dividend fund. This from a chart pattern, it's going up and it pays a 40% dividend. goodness gracious. But how sustainable is that? And it's oil and gas. Okay. But you may be interested in that. Me, not so much. It's the same company. Here's one, but it pays a 30% dividend, but look at the stock is down by 60%, 70%. Not terribly interesting. Below the 200, not interesting. So you get the idea. Another interesting scam that I have is IPOs, stocks that have gone public in the last whatever period of time. My particular scam, I just opened the edit, is I'm looking for an IPO date from 2018 forward. So they've only been in business or it's been public rather, for 4 years. Current price is greater than the 3. I want to, cut some slack here. And sometimes these cheap IPOs can work. Their average daily volume is 20 million and they're not an ETF. So it's a pretty wide scan. And where do we start here? And I can show you how quickly I can go through these. So mildly interesting. It's above its 200. Okay, add it to the list. No. Well, maybe. Yeah, add to that to the list. No. 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 Why am I saying no? Because they're all below the 200-day moving average, or 40-week moving average, which is heading down. Just not interested in any bottom fishes. So that's how I can go through this thing so quickly without wasting a lot of time. So I think you'll get the idea from that. Now this tool is not cheap. It's not terribly expensive either. I think it's about $125 a month. Extremely powerful, very useful. I would suggest that anybody that is trading stocks and you have an account more than $50,000, this is a worthwhile investment of $125 a month. And if you have even 200,000 or more in your accounts, and even if you're being managed by an advisor, I think it's worth the extra money just to check up on what they're doing and to also create some ideas for them. But that's my personal view. Now, there's some other tools similar to that you can get for free. We'll just go to our handy dandy internet. Finviz is one. And they have a free service. I've never used it, but I access Finviz to see what the futures are doing when I wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning. But they do have a screener. I'll just click on it here. What do I got to do? And technical order. I knew I could find that. Bear with me. They have nope, that's not what I wanted. Screener. One of the things that free, of course, you've got to put up with the so let's look at you can pick whatever you want, unusual volume, overbought, oversold, new highs for the year, wedge down, all sorts of different patterns and stuff. I'll just go to new highs. So there you have a list of all of the stocks that are made new highs today. And I don't know how they sort them. Looks not even by volume. The nice trick about Finviz is you just hover over the symbol and you can at least see a chart. Oh, these guys got bought out today. This was on my radar to buy, or on my watch list. I can't say to buy, and then whoosh, got bought out. It looks like that was a buyout too. So handy tool. Take a look at it. I think they also, to get away from the ads and to get more services, you can pay, but I have no idea what that costs. And the other one I have used in the past, I haven't for a year or so, is called Stock Charts. If I could spell it. Stockcharts.com. and they'll give you a free 1 month trial. I think IBD MarketSmith too, you can get a 1 or 2 month free trial on it. This was moderately useful. I signed up for this because MarketSmith didn't support the Canadian market. And at the time I was in Janice's account, I kept in Canadian funds. So I was looking for Canadian stocks. And I found it a little clunky, but so I didn't really use it to its full capacity. But a lot of traders I've talked to or watch on YouTube or chat groups or what have you, they use stock charts, so it's worth investigating. So that's it. That's all. I mean, hopefully that's not a little too overwhelming. But anybody that is, if you're serious about investing in stocks, you should have some form of a screening tool that allows you to zero in on what your particular style is. So that's that, and then we'll move on to the next installment in the series.